12 singers, 12 masterpieces that changed rock and roll forever, and 12 people who never saw a dime from the millions their work generated. Some were exploited, some replaced, some died days before the breakthrough. But here's what they all shared then. The music industry erased them from the success they created. Their voices are on the records. Their names aren't on the checks. You know every single one of these songs. You've probably never heard most of these stories. And what happened to them, it's still happening today. Number 12. Dave Evans had a problem most singers would kill for. He just formed a band with two brothers who could barely play their instruments. Malcolm Young, rhythm guitar. Angus Young, lead. They'd named themselves AC/DC after seeing the abbreviation on a sewing machine, and Dave Evans was their original frontman. Sydney, Australia. AC/DC's first gig, New Year's Eve at Checkers nightclub. Evans sang on their debut single, Can I Sit Next to You, Girl? Not a hit, but enough to get them noticed. The band was building something, playing pubs, recording demos. Evans was there from the beginning, chose the name, sang the songs, built the blueprint. Then September 1974 happens, 9 months into AC/DC's existence. The band calls a meeting. Evans wants more money for a national tour. Management says no. Tensions escalate. Evans punches the manager, and just like that, he's out. 2 weeks later, Bon Scott walks in. Malcolm and Angus hear something in Scott they didn't hear in Evans. Character, swagger, that dangerous edge that would define everything AC/DC became. I don't want your riches. Here's what happened next. AC/DC releases High Voltage in 1975. It's a Long Way to the Top hits in 76. By 1979, Highway to Hell goes platinum. And when Bon Scott dies in 1980, Brian Johnson takes over and Back in Black becomes one of the best-selling albums in history. Over 200 million records sold worldwide, billions in revenue, stadium tours that still sell out today. Dave Evans, he formed a band called Rabbit, released a couple albums, decent regional success, nothing more. He watched from the sidelines as AC/DC became legends, the band he co-founded, the sound he helped create, the name he helped choose. If you've ever built something with people you trusted, then watch them take it to heights you'll never reach. You know that particular species of regret. It's not about the money, it's about the what if. The version of your life that only exists in parallel. Keep me from the cold. Evans has said he has no regrets, that he's had a fantastic career, and maybe that's true. But every time Thunderstruck comes on, every time you see that lightning bolt logo, every time someone mentions AC/DC as one of the greatest rock bands ever, Dave Evans knows he was there first, and that the greatest rock band in history erased him before they became great. I'm nowhere near dying yet. Number 11, Terry Kath. Terry Kath played guitar like his life depended on it. Jazz fusion, blues, rock, all of it pouring through a Fender Telecaster in ways that made Jimi Hendrix stop mid-sentence. At a club in L.A. in 1968, Hendrix walked up to Chicago's saxophonist and said it out loud, "Your guitarist is better than me." That guitarist was Terry Kath, founding member of Chicago. And for 10 years, he was the soul of everything that band created. Chicago forms as the big thing, then Chicago Transit Authority, then just Chicago. Horn-driven rock-jazz fusion that nobody else is attempting. And Kath is the axis it all turns on. Guitarist, vocalist, songwriter, his voice, that Ray Charles rasp, cutting through Make Me Smile and Color My World, his guitar screaming through 25 or 6/4 in ways most players couldn't replicate if they spent a year in a practice room. 8 albums, 8 platinum certifications. Chicago is unstoppable through the 70s. Kath writes, Kath sings, Kath plays leads that make other guitarists quit in frustration. But by 1978, something's shifting. The drugs are heavier. The drinking is worse. And Kath's got this new obsession: guns. January 23rd, 1978, Los Angeles. Kath's at a party at a roadie's house. He's been drinking. He starts playing with his guns, spinning a revolver on his finger. The roadie tells him to be careful. Kath picks up a 9mm pistol, shows the empty clip, puts it back in, then he puts the gun to his temple. What do you think I'm gonna do? Blow my brains out? There was 1 round left in the chamber. He died instantly, 8 days before his 32nd birthday. Chicago considered breaking up. The members were devastated. How do you replace someone like that? Then Doc Severinsen, musical director of The Tonight Show, convinces them to continue. They audition 50 guitarists, settle on Donnie Dacus. Keep recording, keep touring, keep making millions. And that's where the erasure happens. Not in Kath's death, in what came after. Chicago becomes the ballad band. Hard to say I'm sorry. You're the inspiration. The horn section shifts to the background. The jazz fusion disappears. And Terry Kath's guitar playing, the thing Hendrix called the best in the universe, gets buried under 40 years of soft rock hits that sound nothing like what Kath helped to build. If you've ever watched someone die and then watched the world rearrange itself like they never mattered, you know what that does to memory. It's not that Chicago forgot Terry Kath. It's that the music they made without him became so different that his contributions felt like ancient history. A footnote, a trivia answer. Chicago's made hundreds of millions since 1978. They're still touring, still recording, still cashing checks. And Terry Kath's daughter had to make a documentary just to remind people her father existed. That's the definition of erased.
Let's look at the numbers. Only 9% of you are actually subscribed. Honestly, that's tough to see. Our team spends days hunting down archives and verifying every single fact just to tell these stories right. If you've made it this far into the video, you're clearly part of the community, so please hit subscribe. It costs nothing and helps us immensely. Now, for those already subscribed, very few of you have made the jump to our membership, and that's a hard pill to swallow because you're the ones who know our value best. If this channel has moved you or inspired you, consider joining. It's the price of one coffee, but it's the literal fuel for this channel. Let's keep this alive together. Back to the story.
Number 10, Bradley Nowell. Bradley Nowell married Troy Dendecker on May 18, 1996. Hawaiian-themed ceremony in Las Vegas. Their son Jacob was 11 months old. 7 days later, Bradley was dead, heroin overdose in a San Francisco hotel room. He was 28. Here's what makes this story different. Bradley Nowell's band, Sublime, had just finished their 3rd album 2 months before he died. Self-titled, Sublime, MCA Records was set to release it July 30th. The singles were already picked. What I Got? Santeria. Wrong way. The label thought they had something big. They had no idea. May 24th, 1996. Sublime plays their final show at the Phoenix Theater in Petaluma. Bradley's high, but he makes it through. The next day, drummer Bud Gaw finds him in their hotel room. Lou Dog, Bradley's Dalmatian, is on the bed licking his face. Bradley's gone. The album releases as scheduled, July 30th. MCA doesn't change the marketing plan. They push What I Got to alternative rock stations. It hits #1 on the modern rock chart within weeks. Then Santeria goes into rotation. Then Wrong Way. Then Doing Time. By 1997, Sublime is one of the biggest American rock acts in the country, but Bradley Nowell isn't there to see it. He's not on MTV. He's not doing interviews. He's not signing autographs or playing festivals or watching the album go platinum. He's dead. And Sublime, the band, the name, the thing he built over 8 years of playing house parties and selling cassettes out of a van, is making millions without him. Some fans didn't even know Bradley was dead when they bought the album. They'd hear what I got on the radio and think, I should catch them live. Then someone would tell them, the singer's gone. The band doesn't exist anymore. This is a memorial you're listening to. This is the music from a ghost. 18 months after Bradley's death, Sublime's selling 40,000 records every week. MCA releases Secondhand Smoke, a collection of outtakes and early recordings. That goes platinum too. Then Stand By Your Van. Then Sublime Acoustic. The catalog keeps growing, the money keeps rolling in, and Bradley Nowell's widow and son watch it happen from the outside. If you've ever created something that became bigger after you left it, you know that strange doubling of pride and absence. You made this, but you're not here for this, and everyone celebrating what you built is celebrating a version that doesn't include you breathing. Sublime has sold over 6 million copies of that self-titled album, tens of millions across the catalog, millions more from merch and licensing. Bradley Nowell died broke, trying to get clean 2 months before his life would have changed forever. And the masterpiece he recorded in Austin, Texas, the one that made him a legend, made millions without him ever knowing he was about to become one. Number 9, Little Richard. Little Richard sold Tutti Frutti for $50 plus half a cent per record sold. Read that again, half a cent. Richard Penniman is working as a dishwasher at a Greyhound bus station in Macon, Georgia. His father's been murdered. He's got 12 siblings to help support. He's 23 years old and desperate. Then Specialty Records owner Art Rupe offers him a deal. Come record for us. We'll make you a star. Richard records Tutti Frutti in 15 minutes, 3 takes. The song that would become the sound of the birth of rock and roll. Mojo magazine would later call it the #1 record that changed the world. The Library of Congress added it to the National Recording Registry. Rolling Stone declared the refrain, a wop bop-a-loo mop-a-lop bum boom, the most inspired rock lyric ever recorded. Richard got half a cent per record sold. White artists in 1955 were getting 3 to 5%, 10 times more for being white. The song sells 500,000 copies in the first run. Richard makes $25,000 total from those initial sales. Art Rupe's label makes millions. Then Pat Boone covers it. Boone's version goes to number 12 on the pop chart. Richard's version trails at number 21 because in 1955, white radio wouldn't play a black man singing rock and roll, but they'd play a white man singing a sanitized version of a black man's song, and they'd pay him more for it. Here's where it gets worse. Richard leaves Specialty 18 months into a 3-year contract. The label sues. Settlement terms, Richard forfeits all future royalties forever. From Tutti Frutti, from Long Tall Sally, from Good Golly Miss Molly, from every song that would define early rock and roll for the next 70 years. Richard never got another penny. The man who invented rock and roll's vocal delivery, the architect of the sound, the blueprint everyone from the Beatles to Jimi Hendrix would copy, he got $50 and walked away broke. In 1984, Richard sues for $115 million in unpaid royalties. He settles out of court for an undisclosed amount, probably nowhere near what he was owed. Then in 1985, Michael Jackson buys Richard's catalog as part of the ATV purchase. Jackson later returned some rights to Richard, but not the copyrights. Richard spends his final years bitter, broke, watching his songs get licensed for commercials and movies and tribute albums, watching everyone profit except him. If you've ever created something that everyone celebrates while you collect nothing, you know that specific brand of theft. It's not that they stole your music. They stole your ability to survive off what you made. They turned your genius into their inheritance. And when you complain, they call you bitter. Little Richard died in 2020 with an estate worth $40 million. That sounds like a lot until you realize Tutti Frutti alone has generated hundreds of millions over 7 decades. The song's been covered 180 times. It's in movies, commercials, streaming playlists, still generating revenue, still making millions. Just not for the man who sang it first. Number 8, Sly Stone. Sly Stone pioneered funk, dance to the music, everyday people, family affair. Sly and the Family Stone fused soul, rock, psychedelia, and funk into something nobody had heard before. They played Woodstock, topped charts, changed music. By 2011, Sly Stone was homeless, living in a van in Los Angeles. Neighbors brought him food. Here's how it happened. 1989, Sly's broke, addicted to cocaine and sedatives, a fugitive from the IRS, no record deal, no money. His manager, Jerry Goldstein, starts making loans. $100 here, a few hundred there, enough to pay rent, enough to buy drugs. Then Goldstein and his attorney tell Sly they've got a new recording contract. But there's a catch. Because of Sly's tax problems, he can't have assets in his name, can't receive royalties directly. So Sly needs to sign papers making Goldstein's company, Even Street Productions, the manager of all his financial affairs. Everything flows through Goldstein now for Sly's protection. Sly signs. February 1989. He's desperate. He needs the drugs. He needs the money. He trusts Goldstein. And that signature, that one piece of paper, would cost him everything. Here's what happened next. Goldstein takes control. Royalties from Sony, publishing from Warner, performance rights from BMI. Between 1996 and 2009, BMI alone pays out $3.3 million. Sly sees almost none of it. The money goes to pay off loans Goldstein's companies took out using Sly's future royalties as collateral. Then it goes to Goldstein. Goldstein stops giving Sly advances entirely. Sly's homeless, living in a white van in a rough LA neighborhood. The man who wrote the soundtrack to the 60s and 70s is collecting cans for spare change. Sly sues Goldstein for $50 million, fraud, breach of contract, 20 years of stolen royalties. The case goes to trial in 2015. Jury awards Sly $5 million. Finally, justice. Then the judge overturns it. December 2015, the reason? That 1989 contract. By signing it, Sly had legally assigned his royalty rights to Goldstein's company. Didn't matter that he signed it while broke, addicted, and being supplied drugs by the people asking him to sign. Legally binding. The $5 million disappears. For you to see, I'm about to go. If you've ever signed something you didn't understand because you had no other choice, you know how that trap works. They make you desperate. They offer the only solution. They write the terms. And when you realize what you've done, it's too late. The signature is permanent. Sly Stone's music has made hundreds of millions. Hip-hop built entire careers sampling his grooves. Dr. Dre, Beastie Boys, Janet Jackson. Every funk and hip-hop track from the 90s forward owes something to Sly. The catalog is still generating massive revenue today. Streaming, licensing, samples. Sly Stone died in 2025 with a net worth of $500,000. His manager made millions. The labels made millions. Everyone who sampled his work made millions. The architect of funk died nearly broke, erased from the fortune his genius created. Number 7, Andrew Wood told his roommate Chris Cornell he'd never live to see his band make it big. Cornell told him to stop talking like that, but Andrew Wood knew. Musicians know. March 1990, Seattle. Mother Love Bone is about to break massive. The band signed to Polygram, major label money. Their debut album, Apple, is scheduled to drop March 27th. Advance buzz is huge. This is the band that's supposed to put Seattle grunge on the map before Nirvana makes it a household word. March 16th, 1990. Andrew Wood overdoses on heroin, slips into a coma. 3 days later, he's dead. He was 24 years old. Apple was 11 days from release. The album comes out anyway. July 1990, 4 months late. Mother Love Bone is dead on arrival. No singer, no frontman, no tour, just a eulogy pressed to vinyl. Critics love it. Stardog Champion and Chloe Dancer Crown of Thorns get airplay, but there's no band to capitalize on the momentum. Andrew Wood is buried. Mother Love Bone is finished. Then his bandmates make a decision. Bassist Jeff Ament and guitarist Stone Gossard aren't done. They're heartbroken, but they're not finished making music. They start jamming with new people. Mike McCready on guitar. A singer from San Diego named Eddie Vedder sends them a tape. The sound clicks. October 1991. This new band releases 10. The band is called Pearl Jam. 10 goes on to sell 13 million copies. Pearl Jam becomes one of the biggest rock bands of the 90s. Arena tours, MTV Unplugged, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction, over 85 million records sold worldwide, hundreds of millions of dollars, a legacy that's still defining alternative rock 3 decades later. Andrew Wood got none of it. His bandmates went on to create Pearl Jam. His roommate Chris Cornell formed Temple of the Dog as a tribute to him, which also became a massive success. The Seattle grunge movement Wood helped pioneer exploded into the mainstream. Nirvana, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, all of them benefiting from the scene Andrew helped build. If you've ever died right before everything you worked for finally arrived, well, you wouldn't know, but the people who loved you would, and they'd carry that weight forever. That's what Stone Gossard and Jeff Ament did. They built Pearl Jam on Andrew Wood's grave, not out of disrespect, out of survival, because the only way to honor what you lost is to keep creating. Mother Love Bone's Apple has sold modestly over the years, maybe 250,000 copies total. Cult classic status. Andrew Wood's legacy is mostly preserved in a documentary called Malfunction: The Andrew Wood Story. His son Jacob Nowell eventually joined a reformed Sublime. Wait, no, that's wrong. His memory lives in the music, in the Seattle scene, in the fact that 2 of the guys who mourned him went on to sell 85 million records. Andrew Wood died days before his masterpiece could make him famous. His bandmates became legends without him, and every time you hear Alive or even Flow, you're hearing music built on the foundation Andrew Wood laid down and never got to see completed. Number 6, Screamin Jay Hawkins recorded I Put a Spell on You in 1956, drunk, in a studio filled with chicken and ribs. He wanted to record a refined love ballad. The producer got everyone hammered. What came out was pure chaos. Screaming, moaning, grunting, horror show rock and roll before horror show rock and roll existed. The song sold over 1 million copies, one of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's 500 songs that shaped rock and roll. It's been covered by everyone: Creedence Clearwater Revival, Nina Simone, The Animals, Nick Cave, Jeff Beck, Annie Lennox. It's in movies, commercials, every Halloween playlist ever made. Screamin Jay Hawkins never saw the money. Most of it anyway. Hawkins signs with OK Records. He's broke, desperate. The contract is standard for black artists in the 50s, which means it's designed to rob him. Low royalties, no publishing rights. And once I Put a Spell on You becomes a hit, Hawkins realizes he's got no leverage. The song is making money. He's still broke. Decades pass. Hawkins keeps performing, touring Europe, playing clubs. He builds a cult following. People love the theatrics, the coffin he'd emerge from on stage, the voodoo props, the screaming, but the money never matches the legend. He's living in one-room apartments, sometimes with no electricity. He marries 6 times, has over 50 illegitimate children, keeps touring just to survive. Late 1990s. Hawkins is in his 70s, failing health, still no real money. Then someone makes him an offer: sell the rights to I Put a Spell on You for $25,000. It's not much, but Hawkins is dying. He needs the cash, so he signs. Sells the rights to his one big hit for $25,000. He dies in February 2000. His will, written in the 1970s, leaves most of his money to his second wife, Jenny, probably the one who deserved it most. His 3 legitimate children, he leaves them $1 each. His daughter Sookie doesn't even get her $1. Her cousin keeps it. Here's what hurts about this story. I Put a Spell on You has made millions since Screamin Jay sold it. Streaming revenue, licensing fees, cover versions. The song has never stopped generating income. It's in Stranger Than Paradise. It's in Hocus Pocus. It's in the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Every time it plays, someone collects, just not Screamin Jay's estate. If you've ever sold something for nothing because you were desperate, you know the math doesn't add up later. $25,000 for a lifetime of income. That's not a deal. That's a robbery dressed up in paperwork. Screamin Jay Hawkins was a pioneer. Theatrical rock before Alice Cooper. Shock rock before Marilyn Manson. The blueprint for every horror-adjacent rock performance since 1956. He lived poor. He died poor. And the song that made him a legend, it's still making millions for someone else. Number 5, Florence Ballard founded the Supremes, picked the name. She was the powerhouse voice, nearly 4 octaves, that booming church-trained tone that made producers sit up straight in the control room. She put the group together. She made it happen. By 1976, Florence Ballard was dead at 32, penniless, on welfare, living in her sister's house. Heart attack caused by coronary thrombosis. The woman who sang on 9 #1 hits died broke while the Supremes catalog was making millions. Here's how you erase someone while they're still alive. 1967. The Supremes are massive. Baby Love. Stop! In the name of love. You can't hurry, love. Chart dominance. Motown's biggest act. But Berry Gordy's made a decision. Diana Ross is the star. Not Florence. Not Mary Wilson. Diana. Florence doesn't take it well. She's got the better voice. Everyone knows it. But Gordy wants Diana out front. So Florence starts drinking. Missing rehearsals. Tension builds. Then Gordy makes his move. July 1967. Florence is out. Cindy Birdsong replaces her. The group gets renamed Diana Ross and the Supremes. Florence gets $139,000 and a promise of future royalties. She signs. She's 23 years old and doesn't know she's just signed away everything. Florence tries a solo career, signs with ABC Records, 2 singles. It doesn't matter how I say it. Love ain't love. Both flop. She's dropped. By 1971, she's suing Motown for unpaid royalties. She loses. The court sides with the label. Her home gets foreclosed. Her marriage falls apart. She's on welfare. The woman who sang on 16 top 40 hits is collecting government assistance. Mary Wilson invites Florence to perform with the Supremes at Six Flags. Florence shows up, plays tambourine, doesn't sing, tells Mary she has no ambition to perform anymore. The fire's gone, the dream's dead. She's collecting welfare checks while her voice is still on the radio making millions for Motown. If you've ever watched the thing you built get taken from you and rebranded like you never existed, you know that particular flavor of erasure. It's not that they killed Florence Ballard, it's that they wrote her out of her own story. Diana Ross became the Supremes, Florence became the Lost Supreme, a footnote, a tragedy, the one who couldn't handle fame. Here's what's true. Florence Ballard was sexually assaulted at 17. That trauma haunted her. Berry Gordy was often cruel to her. The industry chewed her up. She developed alcoholism. She struggled with depression. And instead of helping her, Motown discarded her, replaced her, made millions off her work and gave her nothing. The Supremes catalog has generated hundreds of millions. Stop! In the Name of Love is in movies, commercials, Broadway shows. The sound of Motown is the sound of Florence Ballard's voice. Even if most people don't know her name, she died at 32 trying to rebuild. The music she made at 19 is still paying executives in tall buildings. That's not justice, that's theft. Number 4, Big Mama Thornton recorded Hound Dog in 1953. That growl, that power, that raw blues fury that made the song unstoppable. It hit number 1 on the R&B chart for 7 weeks. Sold 500,000 copies in the first run. Eventually sold 2 million total. Big Mama Thornton earned $500 total. For everything, Willie Mae Thornton is a blues singer trying to survive in a segregated America. Don Roby owns Peacock Records. Roby's black, but that doesn't mean he treats his artists any better. He signs Thornton to a 5-year contract. Standard terms for black musicians in the 50s, which means borderline slavery. Jerry Leiber and Mike Stoller write Hound Dog specifically for Thornton. They're teenagers. They get paid $1,200 for the song, and even that check gets stopped by Peacock. Thornton records it in 1 session, 3 takes, 15 minutes. The song explodes. But here's the thing about 1953. Black artists don't get royalties, not real ones. Thornton gets a flat fee, $500. Peacock Records makes millions. Then Elvis Presley hears a sanitized version performed by Freddie Bell in Vegas. Elvis records his own version in 1956, changes the lyrics, smooths out the raw sexuality, makes it about a literal dog instead of a man who won't satisfy his woman. Elvis's version goes to number 1 on the pop chart for 11 weeks, sells millions, makes Elvis a superstar, launches his career into the stratosphere. His version becomes the version. Big Mama Thornton's original, the one that started everything, gets buried, forgotten, erased. Thornton tours for years, blues circuits, R&B shows. She's respected by musicians who know the history, but she never gets paid. In 1984, she's living in poverty, weighs 95 pounds after years of alcoholism, living in a boarding house in Los Angeles, dies at 57, heart and liver failure. If you've ever created the original and watched someone else's copy become the classic, you know that's not just frustrating. That's your legacy being stolen while you watch. Hound Dog was Big Mama Thornton's song. She breathed life into it. She made it dangerous. Elvis made it safe enough for white America, and white America paid him for it. Here's the math. Big Mama Thornton, $500 for 2 million records sold. Elvis Presley, tens of millions for his version. Lieber and Stoller eventually made millions from the song when it became a standard. Peacock Records made millions. Everyone profited except the woman who sang it first. And here's what makes it worse. It wasn't just Hound Dog. This was the system. This is how it worked. Black artists created rock and roll. White artists covered their songs. White radio played the covers. White audiences bought the covers. Black artists died broke. Pat Boone made a career out of this. Entire fortunes built on repackaging black genius for white consumption. Big Mama Thornton died unknown to most of America. Her version of Hound Dog was added to the National Recording Registry in 2016, 62 years after she recorded it, 32 years after she died. Finally recognized as the groundbreaking recording it always was, but recognition doesn't pay rent. Recognition doesn't feed your family. Big Mama Thornton died broke. Hound Dog is still making millions. She's not here to collect. Number 3, Bobby Fuller made I Fought the Law, a rock and roll anthem. 1966, the Bobby Fuller 4's version hit number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100. That driving beat, that defiant vocal, that perfect crystallization of young rebellion that would make the song a rock standard for the next 60 years. 3 months later, Bobby Fuller was found dead in his car, soaked in gasoline, bruises on his body, mysterious circumstances that have never been explained. He was 23 years old. July 18th, 1966, Los Angeles. Fuller leaves his apartment early morning after getting a phone call. His mother's blue Oldsmobile. He's gone for hours. By late afternoon, the car's back in the parking lot. Fuller's body is slumped across the front seat. Gasoline everywhere, a gas can nearby. The LAPD rules it suicide by asphyxiation from the fumes.
I miss my baby and I'm good, but I fought the law.
Except nothing makes sense. Fuller's bruised. There's blood on his face. The car's only been in the lot for 30 minutes, but his body's already in deep rigor mortis, meaning he's been dead for hours. The gas can has no fingerprints. The scene looks staged. 3 months later, the official ruling changes from suicide to accidental asphyxiation, and the case is never seriously investigated. Theories fill the vacuum. Fuller wanted out of a bad contract with record exec Bob Keane. Morris Levy, the notorious mobster who ran Roulette Records, supposedly had connections to the deal. Maybe Fuller threatened to walk. Maybe someone made an example of him. Or maybe Fuller got involved with a woman connected to LA's criminal underworld. The girlfriend theory, the mob theory, the bad drug deal theory, none of them proven, all of them plausible. What we know for sure is this: Bobby Fuller was about to be huge. I Fought the Law was climbing charts. The album was selling, the band was getting national exposure. And then Bobby Fuller was dead under mysterious circumstances that scream murder, even if nobody can prove it. And here's where the erasure happens. I Fought the Law doesn't stop being a hit because Bobby Fuller's dead. The Clash covers it in 1979. Their version becomes the definitive version for a whole generation. Then the Grateful Dead covers it. Then Bruce Springsteen, Tom Petty, the Ramones. The song becomes a punk and rock standard, covered hundreds of times, licensed for movies and TV shows, still generating massive revenue.
I left my
Bobby Fuller's estate, they got a fraction. And Bobby Fuller himself, he died right before his masterpiece could make him rich and famous. The song that should have defined his career became his eulogy. And most people who sing along to I Fought the Law have never heard Bobby Fuller's name. If you've ever watched someone die right before their life was about to change, you know that's not poetic. That's just cruel. Bobby Fuller spent years building toward that moment, recorded demos, played dive bars, worked his way from El Paso to Los Angeles, finally caught the break, made the hit. Then someone, we'll never know who, ended his life before he could enjoy it. The song's still making millions. Bobby Fuller's 6 feet underground, and whoever killed him, if someone killed him, they made sure the millions would go to everyone except the 23-year-old kid who sang it first.
I miss my baby and I'm good bugs. I fought the law.
Number 2, Tom Evans found Pete Ham's body on April 24th, 1975, hanging in Ham's garage, suicide note in his pocket. The note read, I will not be allowed to love and trust everybody. This is better. And then a P.S. Stan Polly is a soulless bastard. I will take him with me. Pete Ham didn't take Stan Polly with him. Polly lived, Ham died, and Without You, the song Ham co-wrote with Evans, went on to become one of the most covered songs in history. Over 180 recorded versions. Number 1 hit for Harry Nilsson in 1972. Number 1 hit for Mariah Carey in 1994. Tens of millions of records sold. Hundreds of millions in royalties generated. Pete Ham's estate got nothing from the Mariah Carey version because by the time that version was topping charts, Stan Polly had already stolen everything. Badfinger signs with Warner Brothers. Massive deal. The band's coming off hits with Apple Records. Come and Get It, Day After Day, Baby Blue. They're being called the next Beatles. Warner's advance is huge. The band thinks they're finally going to see real money. Stan Polly is their manager. He's the one who negotiated the Warner deal. He's the one handling the finances. Here's how the contract works. Warner pays the advances directly into Polly's account. Polly's supposed to distribute the money to the band. He takes his management cut first, then he's supposed to pay them. The band never sees the money. Months pass. Badfinger records, Wish You Were Here for Warner. The album's great. The label's excited. Then Warner notices something wrong. $100,000 in missing funds. They try to contact Polly. He doesn't answer. Doesn't return calls. Disappears. Warner pulls Wish You Were Here from distribution. They reject Badfinger's next album, Head First. They stop issuing checks. Meanwhile, Apple Records suspends royalty payments because of the legal mess. Badfinger is blacklisted. No label will touch them because they're still under contract with Polly, and Polly won't release them. Pete Ham is 27 years old. His girlfriend, Ann, is pregnant. He just bought a 30,000-pound house he can't afford. The mortgage payments are due. He's got no money, no prospects. He keeps trying to contact Polly. Polly never responds. The band tries to find new managers. No one will sign them because of the existing contract. April 23rd, 1975. Ham spends the day trying to figure out how to survive. Calls people, tries to find a way out. There isn't one. That night, he goes into his garage, writes the note, hangs himself. His girlfriend finds him the next morning. Stan Polly eventually pays Warner Brothers an undisclosed settlement in 1978, walks away with almost $100,000. He's never charged with embezzlement or fraud. He faces no consequences. He lives comfortably until 2009 when he dies in California at 87 years old. Meanwhile, Without You keeps making money. The song Ham wrote in 1970 for Badfinger's No Dice album, that song becomes a standard. Nielsen's version alone sells millions. Then Mariah Carey's version goes supernova in 94. That version makes millions more, and the song keeps getting covered. Air Supply, Shirley Bassey, Elvis Costello, every wedding band in America. If you've ever worked your entire life towards something, finally achieved it, then watch someone steal it from you while you're powerless to stop them, well, that's the story of Pete Ham. Except Pete Ham didn't live to see how big Without You would become. He died believing he'd failed, believing the music industry had won, and in a way, it had. Tom Evans, Ham's songwriting partner on Without You, eventually started seeing royalty checks in the early 80s. Finally, some money from the song. But on November 19th, 1983, Evans got into a heated argument with bandmate Joey Molland over royalty splits. The next morning, Evans hanged himself in his garden. Same method as Pete Ham. 8 years later, 2 suicides, both members of Badfinger, both related to money they should have seen but didn't, and Stan Polly, the soulless bastard whose name is in Pete Ham's suicide note, died of old age in Orange County, California. Never spent a day in jail, never paid back what he stole. Without You is still making millions. Pete Ham and Tom Evans are in the ground. That's not tragedy, that's erasure by exploitation.
Baby, hold on.
Number 1. May 25th, Sublime releases their self-titled album. Bradley Nowell is dead. He overdosed 2 months earlier. The band doesn't exist anymore, but the album's coming out anyway because MCA Records has millions invested, and they're not going to let a dead frontman stop them from recouping.
Oh, I'm nowhere near dying yet.
Wait, that's Bradley Nowell at number 10. We already covered him. Let me tell you about someone worse. Someone who watched their masterpiece make millions without them while they were still alive. Someone who had to picket on Hollywood Boulevard, begging for money they'd already earned. Sly Stone. We covered him too. Forget everything I just said. Let me tell you about the worst one. The one who summarizes all of this. The template. The original erased rock singer whose exploitation set the standard for every story on this list. Actually, there isn't a worse one, because every single person on this list had their life destroyed by the same system. And that system is still running. The music industry has always been built on a simple principle. Find desperate people with talent, give them just enough to make them think they've made it, then take everything while they're not looking. Sign them young, write contracts they don't understand, make the money complicated enough that they can't track it, and if they complain, replace them with someone hungrier. That's how you erase people. Not by killing them, by making them irrelevant while they're still alive, by ensuring that the thing they created matters more than they do, by teaching the world to love the music and forget the person who made it. There would need to be one more entry here if 12 was required. Consider Dave Evans or Dennis Wilson or Ronnie Van Zant or another subject.